What is up, God Gamers? And are you tired of forcing Azir, Kai'Sa, and Yasuo? Well, do I have a less contested build for you. That is the top 4 king. We're talking about Akshan. So in today's video, I'll be doing a brief guide on how to play Akshan carry and how to play his comp. And I have a very specific comp. In my comps video, I showed a few different variations of the Akshan comp, but I hard forced Akshan all day yesterday just so I can make this video, and I really found a build that definitely works for him and is very good for top 4ing. And so let me just show you right quick here. This are my past 20 games, 18 Akshan plays. 18 Akshan plays, okay? 18 of these games are Akshan, okay? And this is my average placement, 3.4, and I'm playing in high master, low grand master EO. That's about where I'm playing right now. And as you can see, I was doing super well when I was climbing in low master. And then once I started to get a little bit stiffer competition up here, and honestly, I got tired. I was just getting tired. And again, I'm hard forcing the build every single game, which you don't necessarily have to do. But this is a very uncontested build. Akshan gets contested a little bit in the mid game, but you don't need an Akshan 3 in the mid game. You only need an Akshan 2, which is not too hard to hit. And so let's check it out. So let me take you guys through the team builder here, and I'm gonna show you guys, this is what the completed board looks like. This is a level 7 board. And so ignore the Heimerdinger for a second. The completed board is actually on level 6, which you may or may not roll for. We'll talk about that a little bit here. But minus Heimerdinger, this is the board. We got Renekton. Our main tank is Sejuani. Our carry is Akshan. We just toss a Murillo on Lissandra. If you have a Lissandra 3 angle, sometimes she can be your secondary carry within the build. We have Cassio here, just a pure synergy bot. And then we got our Ashe here. And then our best unit to add on level 7 if you just hit is Heimerdinger. Obviously, Heimerdinger is difficult to hit on 7, but I've hit a lot of Heimerdingers on 7. And if you play Heimerdinger, I just take Heimerdinger. I go the burn. I go the Mechanostorm, right? I go Mechanostorm, and then I go double Goldenator, and it's really good in this build. I really like it. Even if you have Murillo, you take the burn one just because it helps you get your Goldenator procs. That's why you take it. But anyways, so yeah, this is what the completed board looks like. And then if you get to go to level 8 and you hit some more legendaries, this is what the level 8 board looks like. And so you just drop Cassio for Cassante, and then you play Shin, and this board's very powerful. So yeah. All right, before we talk about, we'll talk more about these in-game boards in a second, but let me talk about the early game real quick. So in the early game, your best strategy is going to be playing around Ionias. This build is just so strong in the early game. And since we're talking about early game, let's talk about some legends. I played Ezreal pretty much every game I played this because Ezreal is the best legend on this patch. But I've been testing Lee Sin because I'm a huge Lee Sin hater, and anytime I'm a hater of something, I try to not be ignorant of it, and I test it. I've been testing Lee Sin on my Smurf, and it's been going decent. I'm going to test more today, and we'll see how it goes. So I think you can play Lee Sin, and you can... The reason why Lee Sin I think is fine is because you can guarantee this Ionia board, and this board is so strong early game. And then it makes an easy transition to Akshan because you're getting the refreshes, and I don't play on a roll. But if you're playing, the 2 refresh augments, that's on Lee Sin, then you can kind of guarantee you hit your Akshan for the mid game. And if you hit Akshan 2 for free, that's a really easy top 4. If you hit that for free on stage 3, that can be very easy. So that's why I'm trying to test the Lee Sin. But I've been playing Ezreal because Ezreal's kind of goated. But anyways, so this is going to be the strongest early game board. And you could straight up play 1-stars. And this Ionia board is so strong right now in the meta. Carry items go on the Jhin. Tank items go on the Set. You're good to go. One thing that sucks about this board is you can only hold 1 unit that goes on your other board. So you end up holding things on your bench. So let's talk about that. What do you want to hold on your bench? If you have Akshan, you're going to play Akshan, right? And you might not even carry. If you're playing Ionias, you still carry the Jhin, even if you have Akshan on your board, until you can get into Shurimas and that sort of thing. Because this Ionia board is just so strong on stage 2 and early parts of stage 3. So what units do you hold on your bench? Obviously, you hold the Akshan, and you'll probably play the Akshan. Other than that, the only units I hold copies of is I'll complete a Renekton 2. And I'll hold that 3 gold on my bench. I don't worry about Cassio. She'll come back. I'll keep 1 copy of Cassio if I can. But if she's robbing your econ, don't worry about it. When you roll on stage 3 or roll on stage 4, you're going to hit a Cassio. And if you don't, just play something temporary until you... The Cassio is pure synergy bot. She is the best synergy bot, but she's pure synergy bot. I will hold a 2-star Renekton, though, and I'll put him on my board if I have room for him, because Renekton, I think, is just... having the 2-star Renekton gives you a lot of frontline. Akshan needs decent frontline. So that is the only unit I hold here. But anyways, this is a very strong early game board. The other strong early game board that I'll play, if you get a Darius drop, and you're hitting this, or maybe get the Swain. You could play Swain as well. It's just this one's the better version. I like this because it allows you to play Cassio on your board. And then this is a great Samira is also a great item holder for your dude. So these are what the early game boards look like right here. Okay, let's talk about itemization a little bit. So itemization goes on the tank right here. It goes on Sejuani. Before you hit Sejuani, just play Vi. Vi is going to be your best bet here. But honestly, I've never had trouble. Once I go to 7, I roll 0. I almost always hit the Sejuani. But if not, you play Vi 2 there. It really sucks if you don't hit the Sejuani because the Freljord proc is so strong once you have all 3. Cool. So itemization onto Akshan. So his best in slot is going to be Runans. Before I say best in slot, let me just say Akshan, what's so cool about Akshan and why I think he's really good with Ezreal and why I think he's really good in this meta is because he can use so many different items. Like, you don't have to... I'm going to tell you best in slot is Runans plus heavy AD item plus 1. That is his best in slot. But you could play Rageblade. You could play Titans, man. Like, you can play Gunblade on him. I mean, you need some damage items, of course. But, like... You can play so much. So don't stress too much about Akshan's items, like trying to guarantee best in slot. Especially if you're going to be playing Ezreal and you're trying to tempo. Just build some good AD items on him and he'll be fine. But yeah, Runans plus Deathblade or IE plus 1 is going to be good to go. This combination's great, you know, because you get the crit scaling, you get the healing. That's amazing. But, you know, if you go Titans here, you could go another Deathblade, right? I mean, I don't really like that version. I don't think he needs that much more damage. I like the survivability. You can go Titans. I ran a Gargantuan game where I went Runans, Titans, and it was kind of nutty because the Shurima gives you a lot of health. That's why Titans is fine on Akshan because Shurima gives him a lot of health and gives him a little bit of healing. And also his ultimate will stack Titans. So it's a very strong combination. But I think this is the best one right here. And then you can put, if you're playing Ezreal and you get a bunch of AP items or something like that, you can put them on Lysandra, especially if you have a Lysandra 3 angle. But if you don't have a Lysandra 3 angle, as soon as you hit the Heimerdinger or something better, you'll remake this unit and put the items on the Heimerdinger. That's going to be your best bet. If you hit the Heimerdinger, of course, you have to, you don't always hit the Heimerdinger. Okay, and so let's talk about your in-game board here. And your in-game board here is, your in-game board, this is the best in-game board. There's also variations where you run Scion and do some weird stuff, but you kind of get into the weeds. If you get an emblem, a Shurima emblem, you can kind of flex around a little bit more. But the key is you want to try to play these legendaries here. You can sometimes, if you hit Scion, you drop this instead, and you play Scion, and then you have to play Akshan no trade without this guy. It gets a little weird because you don't get Invoker anymore. Like, that's fine too. Like, that's going to be stronger than playing just your base Shurimans, like playing the Scion and doing the weird board. But I think this is the best version right here. But keep in mind you can play Scion and try to do some stuff with that. But yeah, so this is what the in-game board looks like. And so let's talk about why Akshan is strong. Akshan is just the undisputed GOAT of Stage 3. Like, he is so strong on Stage 3, even just an Akshan 1. But if you can get an Akshan 2 on Stage 3, you were guaranteed the streak. This board is so uncontested. People are not really looking for a lot of Lysandras right now. Sejuani is a great frontliner, but I think she's much less contested than you would think because a lot of people are playing Azir. A lot of people are playing the Ionia board. And so a lot of people are contesting units like Shin instead. So for their tank line, that's like more the main tank line. Rather than Sejuani. So I find that she's a little bit easier to hit on this patch, which is pretty cool. And I almost never hit her when I rolled a 0 and 7. So when do you roll, when do you tempo, all that stuff? It really depends on how your game's going. Like, sometimes I roll on 6 to hit this board. Sometimes I'm just like doing really well and I can just go fast 7 and I roll 0. But I say a lot of times I do end up rolling on 6 for this board minus the Heimerdinger, obviously. But if you're running the Ionia Jhin board and you're like hard streaking on Stage 2 and you're Bing chilling, then just go fast 7 and roll 0. And then I always roll 0 on 4-1 or 4-2 to hit my Akshan 2. If I haven't hit my Akshan 2 and I haven't hit at least a Sejuani 1, I roll 0 because you want to be strong on Stage 3, Stage 4. The reason why I like this build a lot is because Akshan 2 is really good for top 4ing because Akshan 2 will guarantee streak on Stage 3 and is very strong on Stage 4. And then your 2 outs, your win conditions. Your win condition obviously is an Akshan 3, but sometimes I end up, it just doesn't look like it's in the cards, and so I'll push 8 to get the stronger board and just coast on an Akshan 2, get a 4th, get a 3rd through 5th, right? I find this board is really good for not going 8th. You're consistently will place like 3rd to 5th. But if you are able to hit the Akshan 3, Lysandra 3, get your legendaries on, it's very firstable. As we can see here, I have a lot of first place. I have a lot of firsts, a lot of seconds. A lot of these seconds, I was versus like full legendary comps or like 3-star 4 costs. Like, this board is really strong if you can fully get it online. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the guide. Just a short little guide here. If you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them the best I can. But again, TFT is a complicated game, so if this doesn't work for you, I don't know, it might be a skill issue. But anyways, appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you all, and I love TFT.